I was planning to varnish the entire mast. However, upon inspection, the varnish is still in very good condition. Last time I varnished it was last year when I pulled the mast out. And I put on, if I recall, 13 coats of the Duralux varnish, and it has held up beautifully. Of course, the vertical surfaces fare much better than horizontal ones, which get the direct sunlight. The only problem was with the areas of the fiberglass anti-chafe pads I put where the gaff jaws butt up against the mast. In a few places, the fiberglass was delaminating away from the mast, so I injected some epoxy in there, and now I'm just touching the varnish back up. I'm still anchored off the Deltaville Boatyard, and my sails have just arrived from Willis Sails in New Zealand. A couple of new sails. They were formerly Simon Willis Sails, and Simon Willis was the founder of the loft, and he's since retired, and his apprentice Craig now runs the business. And they have all the measurements for my boat, and they still build good sails. So I got ordered a new jib, the white little Yankee, and also a storm trysail. This is the first time I've had a trysail. I've always just gone down to the triple reef main in light to moderate gale conditions. However, I found when the wind gets consistently over 40 knots, I would have to drop the triple reefed main. It was just too much sail for her. And so then I was just down to the storm jib. And she would roll like crazy under just the storm jib. And also I could only sail off the wind with just the storm jib because the center of effort's too far forward. So I've ordered a trysail, and so I'm trying to figure out how to sheet it here. And it's just going to lace onto the mast, and I'll use the throat halyard to hoist it. And so I had to, so it looks like the sheet has to go all the way aft where the main sheet pad eyes are. So I got one of those little light Harkin blocks with a lashing on it. And so I just lashed it to the pad eye, and I can use the Genoa winch to sheet in the trysail. So, looks like that'll work okay. And now finally we just have to cut the lacing line to the right length and whip the ends, and also whip the ends of the sheet, and then we'll fold it up and put it back in the bag, and hopefully never have to use it, but it's there if we do. Well, it's Saturday, 26th of October, 2019, and we got a reasonably nice weather forecast to sail down to Hampton, which will be our takeoff point for Key West. It's about a 40 mile run down to Hampton, and the winds are forecast to be northerly and then gradually veer northeasterly. And I need northerly component winds to get out of Deltaville here. There's no way I can sail out. The channel's too narrow to tack through, so if the wind's anywhere out of the south, I'm stuck in Jackson Creek until the wind shifts. And I spent a good 5 minutes washing all the mud off the anchor, the chain, and the foredeck. It's very good holding in Jackson Creek, but that mud is very sticky and difficult to get off your ground tackle. So there's absolutely no wind, so I've started the engine, which is me with the sculling oar. And once you get going into a rhythm, it's not too bad. Just kind of swaying back and forth there, making about a knot and a half or so. So we're coming up on the red day beacon, then we have to hang a sharp left there and leave a green to our starboard, and then hang another sharp right and head southward out of the channel. This does get to be a yawn after a while. It would be nice to get some wind. But this way you really do appreciate the wind when it materializes, provided it's favorable. And I get passed by a couple of boats also heading out, reminding me that diesel engines do have their uses. And you can see that green, that's the next sharp turn. It's about a 90-degree turn on the channel. You can see he's turning around it right now, and so obviously we have to make that turn. And at this point we have about a third of a mile to go. And unlike galley slaves of the past, this galley slave does get a short coffee break. The boat's slowing down again, so we got to get back to work. Finally a little bit of wind. It's more easterly in direction than north, but we can still use it. That puts us on a close reach the rest of the way out of the channel. So I'm not going to waste any time in raising the staysail and see if we can get a little bit of a boost from this wind. And so here we are sailing. Probably doing about 1.5 knots or so. But it's better than slaving away at the oar. And there's the last two, red and green. So once we get out past that, then we're out into wider waters. We don't have to worry about going aground. But once out on the bay, we got a nice little breeze, about 6 to 8 knots out of the east-northeast. And I got her full suit on, including the new Yankee MP3 player cranked up. So it's turning out to be quite a nice day. Well, by the rays of the late afternoon sun, we approach Hampton roads, complete with commercial traffic, of course. And there's Old Point Comfort off to starboard. And then we hang a right to the narrow channel that leads to the Hampton River. And we're now approaching the Hampton River in downtown Hampton, Virginia, which is always a fun sailing exercise. And sailing is fun, and anchoring is even more fun. And I'm already seeing anchored boats. Usually all the boats anchor around the corner unless it's really crowded, so this is not a good sign. I'll get that topping lift taut. Make sure all the lines are ready to run. You don't want unexpected tangles in tight quarters like this. I think I see a spot in there. A little further toward the shore. It gets kind of shallow, but I only draw 4.5 feet, so should be all right. Though it's hard to know whether or not there's enough room until you actually get the boat in that spot, which of course is always complicated by the fact that you have to sail up to it, and it's not always easy to sail back out. Somebody hailing me on shore, which turned out to be a YouTube subscriber. So my fan base is growing, apparently. Yeah, it still looks alright, so I'm rounding up right now. I'll round up right in here and drop, and see how things settle down. things are complicated a bit by the current that runs through here. So you not only have to wait for it to settle, but you also have to watch how you move as the tides move in and out in relation to the other boats.
It is October 31st, 2019. Happy Halloween, everyone. So, let's check out the spooky weather situation offshore. Presently, we got a cold front approaching. That's why we got these strong south to southwest winds just offshore at 25 knots. Those are going to increase as the front approaches. As we can see tonight offshore, these winds are getting up to gale force, 33 knots sustained. So pretty strong front. Now, the canonical wisdom for heading southeast offshore to the Caribbean or the Bahamas, or in our case, Key West, Florida, going down through the Bahamas, is to jump on the end of the tail of a cold front and ride it out. And indeed, tomorrow's November 1st, and there's a cold front. The cold front will move offshore, and you'll have nice northwest winds. So, and actually, if you follow this through, this is a decent window. However, just because of the pricing on car rentals, car rental costs are significantly lower after Halloween than before Halloween. So I have a car rented for tomorrow for a day, November 1st, and I'm going to use that to provision the boat, which is all to say that I'm not ready to leave yet. So I'm going to miss this window. And let's just follow this through. You can see on Saturday, you just have light easterlies, so you get down toward Hatteras. And then you get into Sunday, and you got northerlies, moderate northerlies, so that's still pretty good. So the conventional wisdom is holding nicely here. And as you get down, you might get northeast. You might get a little brisk out of the northeast, but that's still good. And Tuesday, you got light to moderate easterlies, that's still good. Wednesday, looks like you have light winds. Thursday, light northerlies. And Friday, well, then it gets kind of funky. But we can't take that window. So if we were to leave, the earliest we could leave would be on Sunday. So Sunday, again, we'd have nice north-northwest winds. We get into Monday, we'd have light to moderate easterlies going across the Gulf Stream. Coming east-southeast, that's not quite so good. And then Tuesday, we got southeast winds, so that's not good because we're trying to go southeast. So, and we wouldn't be far enough along the track to get into the lighter easterlies if we leave on Sunday. Now, it looks like what's happening is there's a low that's going to form. It's like right off Georgia here. You can see, it's getting to late Tuesday. You can see this low right here. And that's going to move up the coast and come off of Hatteras. So Wednesday. Now Thursday again, looks like a high pressure is going to build in. So we'll get northwest winds. We get into Friday. However, as we can see, Thursday night, we could start off Thursday, but Thursday night would be quite a bit of wind. Be behind us, but it's going to be in the 20s. But then that would moderate as we got to the Gulf Stream late Friday and moderate some more, so that might be okay, actually. And then it looks like basically some sort of stationary front here. So I don't see any really clear window here, given that we can't leave tomorrow. So let's check out Ventu Sky here, or Ventusky as I call it, just for comparison's sake. All right, we can't leave November 1st, so let's just look at November 3rd would be the earliest we could go. So see what they say. So again, Sunday, you got northerlies, northeasterlies. As you get into Monday, Again, that's pretty good. Northeast, fairly light. So you get across the Gulf Stream. You get into Tuesday, and you still got kind of light east to northeast, so that's not too bad. To Wednesday, and still, if we worked our way down here, so actually this is the GFS model. So the GFS model actually looks okay for starting off on Sunday. And then just getting northeasterlies building in Friday. Okay, then we get into southeasterlies. They wouldn't be too strong, but see here it looks like Friday another front. It's like a low pressure dragging a front. Okay, and then strong northerlies on Saturday. That looks like a pretty strong front. So by the looks of both models, possibly next week, early next week. But after that, I don't see anything until another week, maybe next Friday or Saturday. It looks like a pretty strong cold front's going to go through. So maybe jump on that next strong cold front. Looked out this morning, the sun was gone. Turn on some music to start my day. Lose myself in a familiar song. Close my eyes and I drift away.